Hiya. Yeah, first time I've ever done one of these, so please excuse me. I wanted to just do this little blog because it's something that's been on my mind now for nearly 2 years. It's all about basically losing my mum. And I always said, and I knew from the minute that this was happening to me, I was going to call it young, numb and missing my mum, because even though I'd made that decision before she'd gone, I just felt like she'd gone at a certain point before she actually passed, so this is why it's called that. So whilst my mum was ill, I just thought I'm going to do a blog about this, because for a girl of 26 years of age, I just felt far too young to actually be going through it at the time. And now I just feel like it's the right time to actually do it, because I thought at the moment, in that present moment, straight after she'd passed, it was all just too raw and it was all just too traumatising to actually even consider doing it at the time. But I finally feel like a couple of years later it's the right time, and I'll explain why later on throughout this video. So many people who already know me and my family, they obviously already know what we had to go through at the time, and you honestly couldn't even write it. It was just the most horrific moment for us and as a family. And you think, I thought, well, I'll write this, I'll do this later after Mum's gone, because I thought I'd be much stronger and I'd be healed kind of thing. But it's not true, and there would never be a right time for me to do this if I felt like it weren't going to hurt. It always hurt, so I just thought now or never kind of thing. So basically the only way I can describe my life before my mum passed away was perfect. I'd met the love of my life, and we'd been on amazing holidays, and we'd just been on holiday to New York where we did get engaged, which was literally the most amazing experience ever. Obviously, as soon as I did get engaged, I went straight onto the phone to my mum, where she was sharing excitement with me. We was FaceTiming, I was sending her pictures and videos and everything of New York and my ring, and then I was sending her through bits on Pinterest of what I'd kind of like at the wedding, and what I'd like my dress to look like, and what venues I liked, and all this was before I'd even got home. We were so excited, as you would be if you just got engaged and you're a girl. So had that moment. We arrived back from New York early December, where we come back, and immediately it was my mum's 50th birthday. I can honestly say that she just never looked better. She always looked so amazing, always so glamorous, done her makeup lovely, always looked absolutely brilliant. She had her 50th birthday. We celebrated, it was lovely. Christmas came, again, had the most amazing Christmas as always. She always made it such a really, really nice time of year for us. She spoilt us all thoroughly rotten. She cooked the most immense roast dinner ever, and she always made sure none of us went without, and she would rather have not one single present to open the whole entire time and just want to spoil us. And she was just the most absolutely phenomenal woman in the world. What we didn't know at this point was that she hadn't actually been feeling very well, but she never went to the doctors because she didn't have time. She was too busy doing everything that she didn't actually want to go at that point. So she waited till January. January came, she popped to the doctors. None of us even knew any of this was going on, because she didn't want to tell anyone and she didn't want to worry anybody. So she went to the doctors, and she just said, I haven't been feeling quite right lately. I think I'm going through my menopause, feeling a bit breathless, etc. So they'd done a couple of tests on her, and then I'll always remember, it was just this one Wednesday. I was at home, I had clients in the evening. My dad called me and he just said, Kelly, can you come home? And I just said, why? What's wrong? and I thought it was my dog initially because she was getting on a bit. So I was like, oh, is Ruby okay? And he's like, yeah, I just want you to come home. And I said, well, why? Because it's a Wednesday, why aren't you even at work? I don't even know what's going on. And he said, your mum's not well. So I said, what do you mean? He said she's got a lump in her lung. So with that, I literally just like turned the oven off, just went straight there. She was laying on a sofa crying, and I just cuddled her and just said, oh, sorry, I am. Because we got told that there was a mass on her lung, so we never even got told like the C word, cancer, or anything at that point, but obviously it crosses your mind. And she was like, I told your dad not to worry you, like, and she just felt so guilty. She was like, I really don't want to put your kids through any worry. And even then I just thought, you know what, you're the most selfless person ever known. So I called my brothers, and as we did as a family, was all there straight away, getting an Indian. She smashed her chicken tikka masala still because she was such a foodie and it's the way to her heart. So it was like, right, let's all get an Indian in, it's a favourite. And then she was due to have a biopsy done in February on her lung. A couple of days before that, I had my engagement party, which we was hesitant to do, but she was like, no, I want you to do it. And she made our cake for us and everything like that. And she looked absolutely wonderful. And then the day after that, she cooked a big roast dinner for the whole family as if it was like Christmas again, and just did a whole massive thing. And then the next day, she woke up with a headache. Dad called me, said she got a headache. She's not in a good way. So it got to about 4 o'clock and she weren't any better, and I cancelled my evening clients. I went straight round there to home to see her, and she was absolutely screaming the house down in absolute agony. And I just remember hearing her as I walked up the stairs just screaming, and I said, Mum, are you okay? And she looked at me with her eyes all glassed over, and she said, Callie, I think I'm dying. I said, no, you're not. So then we called an ambulance, and then when they came, they took her straight to the hospital, and then she was still screaming in pain, and they gave her some morphine and more morphine and more morphine. It wasn't even doing anything. So I said, can you give her some more morphine? Because she's absolutely screaming in agony. They said, Callie, if we give your mum more morphine, she's going to stop breathing. So then she had a scan on her head, and the nurse came back through, and she said, so she just looked at me like she'd seen a ghost, and she just said, I'm so sorry. And I was like, well, why? She pointed to her lung and then to her head, and she said, what's here? And I just said, are you trying to tell me my mum's got brain cancer? And she said, yes. So I had to go into the room and tell my dad. You think my dad has been married to my mum for so many years? He's been with her since she was 14. How do you tell a man that his wife has got brain cancer? And with that, he had to leave the room. And then with her pain in her head, it was, only way I can describe it, was like it was contractions. So she would have like really bad pain, and then it would wear off. And she said to me, Callie, I'm sure I heard her just say, there's shadowing on my brain. And I said, no, you didn't hear that right, that's wrong. And she was just crying. And then I thought, I can't lie. So I said, Mum, sorry for lying, but they're all right. That's what they said. And she said, so she didn't say anything, she just cried. Within a couple of days, she discharged herself because she didn't have the best experience in the hospital. Was going into the hospital, and she didn't get fed or drank anything for hours and hours. She didn't give her nothing. She's absolutely disgusting. So to see a woman who was so strong and so beautiful and clean and fresh all the time, just like to the point where she wasn't even hydrated, they didn't even give her water. She had like white stuff around her mouth, and I just couldn't even believe that this woman was my mum. And then we'd come back home and everything like that, and then over the period of time she did like these scans and stuff, she's got released with her medication to keep the swelling down on her brain and the morphine and stuff like that to keep the pain at bay. Went to the hospital 28th of February, where we was all dreading because that was going to be her diagnosis day. Went there, and just obviously the meeting went on for a while, and was asking questions, and obviously we were just all waiting for the elephant in the room to come out. And then and I said, well, what's the deal with this now then? Because obviously she has got this cancer, so what now? And they just turned around and looked at my mum and said, Tina, this cancer's going to bring you to the end of your life. And they said, when? She said, when? And they said, in 3 months. Where she just screamed. My dad just sobbed. And that was me just absolutely numb from then. And I just couldn't believe it. And at all this point, I hadn't even cried because I just had to be strong for my family. And then I went home. It was February, it was snow on the ground, and we had to drive home really carefully. I called all my brothers and they all come home again. Well, we just cuddled and gave her love and wanted to give her as much affection as possible. And I remember sitting on the edge of the bed with her because she was obviously just like completely gone, in shock. Sitting on the edge of the bed with her, and I was like, Mum, please don't be sad. Come on, like, you know, they've given you 3 months. This has got to be a really positive 3 months. And she just said, Callie, I'm not sad for me. She looked at me and her eyes just welled up, and her big brown eyes. And she just said, I just don't feel ready to leave you kids. And now I am a mum. I just couldn't imagine leaving my baby. And she had to look at all of us, knowing that was it. And don't get me wrong, we all got to die at some point, I understand. However, knowing, obviously, and putting a time on it is quite scary. So, and obviously, with her life experience, she's seen ill people, so she was nervous about how ill she was going to become, and obviously, is she going to be able to do things and what have you. So, anyways, she decided to choose that she wanted to have a good quality 3 months. So she refused chemo because they're only with chemotherapy. They said you'd live for 6 months, and obviously she didn't want to be ill because she didn't want to see us. Didn't want us to see her ill. So obviously I went home that evening, and all these things just go through your mind. And for the first time throughout all of this, I remember going home, hearing the diagnosis, and the diagnosis day for me every year is the hardest day because of it's just for me that's when my heart absolutely shattered, and I literally felt like someone had pulled my heart out of my chest, ripped it, stamped on it, and I can't believe. At that point, I remember sitting there thinking, this actually can't be happening. And then I needed to start planning my wedding because she'd never seen a child get married. So I was like, right, I'm in a fortunate enough position to be engaged. Right, let's get this wedding on the road. And obviously it entered my head that she never got to see a grandchild, and I was thinking, right, let's have a baby, you know, if I get pregnant, then that will give her more of a reason to want to live, and she'll fight more, and all these irrational feelings. Obviously you can never carry a child if you're probably going through that level of trauma. But then obviously I was lucky enough to be employed by this company that let me have a few work part-time so I could be a carer for my mum. And then throughout the period, we had our wedding and stuff, and I stayed around there the night before, and me and my mum shared a bed, and then we woke up in the morning by her alarm going off at 6, and she got all the food ready and everything for my friends that were coming up with my bridesmaids. And I just thought, even then, do you know what? You are literally the most selfless woman. You're fucking ill, and you're getting up, and you are cooking food for people that are coming over, and she's thinking ahead. And I just think, do you know what a woman to even like have to put that aside. And you think she was doing all that knowing as well that all these guests were coming, knowing that the reason why is because of her, she was not well. And then because she looks so amazing, you just think this whole thing's a lie, like it literally cannot actually be happening because she looks so incredible. And she was like, I don't think I'm ill, I think they've got it wrong, I need a second opinion, and like all this kind of thing. And at the time, obviously, because You just have to get on with it. You just do. And I just think now, like, literally, I was 26 years of age. I was newly engaged and getting married, and all that. So I just think, you know, it's a hard time, understandably. And then following on from then, that's when we started making some memories, because she decided, like, there was a few things she wanted to do. So we went to the Ritz and we went to the Cotswolds with the family, and we just spent lots of time together as a family. Went to Highlands Park a lot because she loved Highlands Park. And we just did quite a lot of things together. And do you know what, like, you go on holiday, right, and you have a good time. You're on the phone to your mum a bit and stuff like that. But I had a holiday booked for June to Portugal, and my mum said, Kelly, I'll be more angry with you if you cancel that holiday. Like, you need to go on holiday, like, you need a break. So I went on this week's holiday, and on the way home on the plane, I just cried the whole time. I just could not wait to get home to her, like, and I was FaceTiming her every day and stuff like that, and I missed her so much. I just wanted to be home. So when I got home, I know it sounds crazy because you just don't think this is ever going to happen, but I remember getting home from the holiday and going straight to my parents. And as I pulled up on the drive, she was waiting in the window so she could see me pull up. And then when I went to go see her, ran through the back door. I was literally like running because I missed her so much. She ran, and she was like, at this point she couldn't really walk very well, so she was shuffling towards me. She was like, my princess, like that. We just cuddled, and I just missed her so much. And I just couldn't wait to see her again. And every time you see him, you just know you're another day down to when you get to see him again. But I was so lucky. I did literally get to see her every single day and spend so much time with her. She didn't want to have carers or anything like that in the house. She wanted to pass away at home, and me and my dad did give her to the end. But it was things that I just feel like, you know, a 26-year-old shouldn't. It's really a hard age because I'm old enough and I should do these things for my mum, and I wouldn't have had anyone else do them for her because it was my job. And it was an honour to do these things for her, but at the same time, it just feels really sick that, like, I couldn't. She's my mum, like, she's not old enough to I felt more sorry for her, like, so every time it was time to bath her and stuff like that, I just felt more sad for her that she has to let her daughter do this to her, and she's only 50. Like, it just didn't make sense. And anyway, so she got to the point where she had to pass, and all this time that your sibling's ill, you are praying for some miracle to just come and take this away from her. But it got to the point where I was like, if there's a God, take her, please, because I can't see her in this pain anymore. It was the most horrific thing. And I just remember, like, for my brothers, my dad, seeing this woman who was literally, like, the most indestructible person become so poorly. And my brothers, I always remember my brother had to pick her up and put her onto the hospital bed because she couldn't move anymore. And he had to, like, pick her up, and it brought her so much pain in her head just to move her. But my brother had to do that to get her into a comfortable position to, like, pass away. And I just felt so sorry for him because as soon as he put her down and she got her into the bed, he turned away and he just burst out crying because seeing your mum in so much pain is literally like, I don't know, like, I can't even, it's probably the only thing that sums up is seeing your kid in pain or something, I don't know, or seeing anyone in pain, it hurts, do you know what I mean? So then, from then on, a couple of days later, she did, like, pass, but you actually felt relief for them in the end because you just don't want to actually see them in any more pain, like, because it just hurts so much. But I was fortunate enough as well because when she was ill, we sat down in the garden one day and she was in a wheelchair. She said, Kelly, I want to talk to you about my funeral and what I want there and stuff like that. So she did, and she wanted a lot, like, bless her. So it made my job so much easier, because when it comes to organising her funeral, it was all not done, but like I knew what she wanted. So then obviously the second part of that is just obviously organising a funeral and bits and pieces. So then that was kind of it, and you think, well, what do I owe her now? Like, what can I do for her? Because she's still here for me and here, and she lives on in all of us. So I feel like you just have to keep talking about these people, because they're alive as long as you speak about them, I think. And I just feel like now it's nearly 2 years down the line, and I thought, right, I'll wait till it gets easier to do this kind of thing, because it hurt too much then, but the truth is it won't ever get any easier. This sticks with you forever, and I can't even tell you the pain when I have to go through things. For example, like I bought my house, first house I've ever bought, and I can't even walk around it to say like, oh, you know, look me and Liv got. It's our family home, and she absolutely loved decorating, and she used to hang every bit of wallpaper herself, like everything she did, and she used to hang up some bits for us in the flat and that, and she loved it, and she can't ever be here. And then obviously I got pregnant, and I just wanted to call her so bad to say, oh mum, I'm having a baby, you know, because she absolutely loved children, so we could, like, it would have been her first grandchild, and just to have gone through the moments with her, you know. And I feel like no matter what, for me, all I've ever done since she's passed is try to chase her back. So like, these are her ashes, and I wear them every single day. This is her engagement ring. I wear it every single day. Excuse my like really dry hands. The dressing gown I wear every day is my mum's dressing gown. Not this one, my fluffy one, so no one can bury his head into it. So many things I've got are of hers, but now I find like certain things, like a top that she got me for Christmas or something, and like a few years ago, now needs to be thrown away because it's like wear and tear. It's a jumper that, but every time I feel like I dispose of something, I'm just disposing another thing of her, and something for me to keep as a remembrance for her. But the point of me doing this was more like, I hope it gets into the hands of someone who is, or going through, or have been through, or a loss of a family member that means a lot to them, or a friend that means a lot to them, because I just try to hang on to all the really positive things. So like, if I'm upset or something, she always gives me such great advice. So whenever I like was upset about something, she'd always really bring me back down to reality. So she'd be like, don't worry about that because of da 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 da. So whenever I do get upset, I always think to myself, what would my mum say in this situation? And then if it's something that I think she would say, then I kind of accept that, because you always listen to your mum and dad because they're always right. You always just think about your mum and dad, don't you? They're your role models. And I look at Noah sometimes and I just think, like, God, you just have no idea. Like, you would have had the best nanny in the whole entire world. She's absolutely amazing. But when she was ill, she became very religious, and she absolutely just fell in love with life all over again. And she just felt like so blessed and so happy. Like, anyone that said to her, like, I'm so sorry, Tina, like, I can't believe to hear about your diagnosis. She's like, what do you feel sorry for me for? I'm 50 years old. I've made it all the way to 50. Some people don't even make it into the world. So I'm 50 years of age, so I had 5 healthy children. I've been married to the man of my life since I was 14. Well, the man of my life since I was 14. She went, I've achieved more in my life than most people have ever achieved. And you have to look at life in a way that is going to make you happy. You've got to think of them positives, because that's the only thing that's going to keep you going. So I just think to myself, like, I'm so lucky that throughout my whole entire life I remained and did have such a strong bond with my mum. We used to go to the cinemas, and we used to go to lunch and coffee, and bits and pieces like that. And then, well, obviously when she was passing, we got gifted with time to do things while she was ill. So we built up loads of memories there, and all my, obviously my wedding, I got videos of her voice and stuff like that, which is more than what a lot of people could get. So the truth is, when you do lose a person that's close to you, as my mum was to me, I will always be numb. I will never, there will, the answer in my head, it will never be answered to why her. I can't accept that. I can't accept that it was her time to go, because it wasn't. She offered too much to the world. She was such a nice person. She didn't offer it just to me, she offered it to everybody that come in contact with her. She made everybody smile. So that I will never understand, and I will never, ever accept that it was her time to go, because it was not. But I just miss her so much. I will never understand why she had to go so young. I just feel so bad for my family as much as myself. I'll never get it. Never understand. But it is what it is. And there's other people in my situation. But I just want people to know it's okay to cry, because if you cry and you hurt and you grieve, it's because you loved so hard. And I just will never apologise for getting upset. I will never apologise for being emotional about my mum, because it just shows how much I loved her so much. And I just don't understand why she never got to stay. Just for a bit longer, do you know what I mean? I just love to hear her again, you know? But I can hear her in my head. Her laugh was so contagious, and she was just such a wonderful woman that I just think, you know what? I just will never understand why she had to go. But I know my dad's doing amazing. He'll do really proud right now, the way he's tackled things, and my brothers are all doing so well, and one of my brothers is now getting married, and the woman that he's met, I just feel like my mum's painted a picture and passed her down from heaven, that she's just so nice, and I just think, God, she would just loved to have met her. And there's just so many things to be grateful for, you know. But I can always take Noah to Highlands Park, where our ashes are, and I'll always show him the videos, because I've got a million funny videos of my mum and photos. But yeah, basically that sums it up. I was young, and I'm still numb, and I'm still missing my mum, and that's never going to change, because why would it? She's my mum. And you know what? I don't think it's okay to say that things are going to get easier, and things are this, that and the other, because I'm not going to lie, I won't give you some bullshit. This is real, and it won't get easier. You'll miss them, and you'll get days that are easier than others, but then other days they hurt. They hurt a lot. And you just think, like Mother's Day's just been my first Mother's Day. I thought I was going to wake up and be well happy. I weren't. I was so upset when I woke up, because I just can't process in my head, even now, that she's not here, and I can't call her up to say Happy Mother's Day. Should sink in by now, but it doesn't. So yeah, I just wanted to, anyone who is or has gone through the same similar thing, then I would honestly be happy to talk with them, because I just think if you can try and pick out the most positives and understand that you can cry as many tears as you want. You shouldn't ever feel like you need to hold back, because at the end of the day, this person was your absolute role model, and you're growing up, they made your life. You owe it to them to keep on talking about them every single day. I just hope, like, when the time comes to other people's siblings, that sort of so bloody traumatic and stuff, because that was the most exhausting thing to have to go through. But at the present time, you just get on with it, because you have to. You have no choice, but you just have to tackle it head on. And I think once we accepted what was happening, you can enjoy your time with that person more, because at first I was just so stressed. I was just trying to think of any remedy and cure, and I was getting her to watch all these recovery videos for the power of the mind and just all this stuff. But once I accepted that this is just kind of going to be it, then I just enjoyed her so much more. And I think that's what you kind of end up having to do sometimes. As much as you want to be superhuman and make her, or try and get her to do something different or whatever, then just enjoy every living moment you get with people around you. If you've not talking to someone and you think it's going to blow over and it will will be okay, or you think this time next year will be absolutely fine, then don't wait till next year, because you don't know what's going to happen in them years. You've got to act now and be that person to pick up the phone, because someone's got to do it, so why not be you? Just got to get on with it and just fucking move on with life. But yeah, so that was my little story that I needed to get off my chest, because I just have to sometimes, because whilst life carries on for me, she's very much here and she sits in here.